Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and I'm back again with something that I've never really done before, and that is do a behind-the-scenes commentary on my most popular videos of a particular year. And since while I'm recording this, we are at the end of 2018, I thought it might be kind of fun for me to go back and look at some of these videos with a fresh perspective, but also give you guys a little bit insight into what goes into making these kind of videos, some of the things that happen behind the scenes, some of my thought process. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I took this idea from another YouTube channel called Digital Foundry. I love that channel, and just a couple days ago from when I recorded this, they did exactly the same thing. And at first I was like, yeah, is it gonna be interesting? I mean, I've watched all their videos, but I found it incredibly fascinating to hear these stories behind the scenes. And so I thought, yeah, what the heck? I'll throw this out on a Tuesday and see if you guys will enjoy it as well. Now, before we get started, I do want to say that 2018 was a great year for my little stupid YouTube channel. I had over 295 million watch time minutes. I also had over 36 million views. That to me is absolutely craziness. I don't even know how to process that. And I gained over 183,000 new subscribers all within the year. So again, guys, thank you so very much for that support. Obviously, I am humbled by that, and you guys are so awesome. And with that in mind, let's take a look at my top 10 most popular videos of 2018. So here is a complete surprise. This was called I Canceled My PlayStation Classic Pre-Order #disappointed. This was a video that, how do I describe this? Basically, I was not gonna make this video. I mean, at the time when I worked on this video, there were already a bunch of other YouTubers that had done videos very similar to this. And I was really kind of like, does the internet need another video about this subject that so many people are already talking about? To me, it felt like it just didn't need to happen. However, one thing I do with my YouTube channel is that I will sometimes make videos in response to questions I get all the time. And being a big retro game collector, I was getting a lot of people reaching out to me, asking me what I thought about the PlayStation Classic. And, you know, I would respond to them, but after a while I was like, man, I just need to make a video about this so that way I can point people to the video. And also explain a little bit more detail about my thoughts about it. And so, you know, but the thing is that I didn't want to just do what everybody else was doing, which was complain about the games that were included, because at the time I made this video, I didn't have one in hand. I had canceled my pre-order and they weren't exactly out yet. When I made this video, they were only in the hands of some of the media. So I really took this opportunity to do kind of what I do best is, yes, talk about the things that I felt like they had left off of it, but also take a moment and talk about some of the things that I thought would have been really cool had they added. And so I basically spent half of the video, the second half of it going, man, wouldn't it have been really cool if they would have added these hidden gems or these games that I consider to be somewhat better. Now, when I put this video out, I did not know what to expect. Honestly, I thought it would just do okay. But then it started gaining traction, and then it started exploding. I mean, this video literally went viral. I mean, for my channel, it was viral. It was crazy. I was really, really surprised by that, but I was also very happy with it because, I mean, everything I did in this video, I was very earnest about. I really do feel like Sony kind of phoned it in here. And yeah, and it's sad because I'm such a big fan and I really had high hopes. I really did have this pre-ordered. The other thing also too that was really important about this video for me was at first I was just gonna end it with some of my thoughts, but then I realized, no, I really need to show people that I did cancel my pre-order. So I was very adamant at the end of this to show my email, because I know some people on the internet would claim that this was just a video for me to get views or talk about, you know, you know, what everyone else is talking about, but I still to this day, I don't have the classic in my collection. I may or may not get it. I know it can be hacked and fixed, but it's something kind of the principle of it. You know, it really just was a complete disappointment. And a lot of you agreed, obviously, because this video had, as of the making of this, over 830,000 views. That's a pretty good video for me. That was pretty crazy. That was definitely a surprise. This next video is PlayStation 2 HDMI solutions for your budget. So I had a very specific goal of this video in mind because I really wanted to try to boil down all of the complexity of getting the PlayStation 2 games that you may have in your collection to HDMI. And I wanted to boil that down to, you know, a video that was very short and concise, because there are a lot of other videos on the internet that go really deep into the subject, because it's a complicated subject with many different options. But my goal here was to make a video that would just be something that, you know, someone doesn't necessarily care about the nuances of this. They just want to know what to buy. And that was my goal with this video, is to boil down all the information that's out there into something that people could just watch within about 10 or 15 minutes. And I think that's why this video ended up doing so well. And I gotta be honest with you, this is a very tricky type of video to make, because again, there is no real right solution. And I wanted to be very fair about, you know, what people could do, what your money could buy out there. And that's kind of tough to do, because again, there are other channels and other videos out there that go really deep into what is the actual best solution out there. In the end of this, though, it was a little bit controversial, because I basically said, hey, if you can buy the original model of the PlayStation 3, which has built-in PlayStation 2 support, that's the best option to go with. And ultimately, that's what I use in my game room. So if I'm going to be capturing PlayStation 2 footage, I bust out my PlayStation 3. And I know that's, you know, that's not what everybody wants to hear, but if you're dedicated enough, and if you're patient enough like I am, it took a couple years to find one, you can do that. The other thing about video like this is just capturing all of the comparable footage. You know, I wanted to capture composite and component and HDMI and upscalers and stuff, and it's just a ton of work in the background. It's almost impossible to try to match shot for shot. And again, other channels do that probably better than I would. But I do think it's really important for people to kind of see, you know, what they would be buying, so that they can make a informed decision. And I'm really glad that this video did well. As of the making of this one, it's gotten a little over 500,000 views, which is pretty cool. Oh man, this next one is awesome. So this is Seattle Game Hunting, the $5 Good Game Challenge. And this has a little over 400,000 views. And this is one of my favorite types of videos to make, because generally when I'm making videos in my game room, everything is very planned out, very specific. I know what shots I need. I've filmed there a million times before. I know what I'm gonna get. But as someone who loves making videos, and I love editing videos and telling stories, it's really fun to plan a day like this where I just get a couple friends together and just say, hey, we're gonna go out and wing it, you know? But the thing I've learned over the years is that if you go to a gaming store, it's really boring to just look at rows and rows of video games. I've done that at expos in the past, and nobody cares, and I understand it. And what you need there is you need to see people on the screen interacting, talking about their passions, being silly, being funny, you know, that sort of stuff. And so that's kind of what I do with these kind of videos, is I try to set up a scenario where we're gonna have a lot of fun. There's a challenge involved. So for this one, we wanted to find the best $5 good game out there, which can be anything. And just have fun with it and see what happens. And again, I have no idea when we're filming these what the end video will be, because you never know what someone's gonna say, you never know what you're gonna find, you don't know if it's gonna be, you know, if someone's gonna be in a bad mood or what. But I do have to say that for this video, I had a really cool mix here of Aaron, Riff, as you see on the screen here. He's from the Pixel Game Squad. He flew up to Seattle, and also Kelsey. And they're two very different people. You know, Riff is just so silly. He is high energy and super positive all the time. And I love being around him because that rubs off on me. And I also love too, and maybe you guys have noticed this, that in my videos, I really love riffing off of Riff, you know, quote unquote. I love playing off other people. And I'm actually pretty good at that as well, because, you know, if they say something, I can say something back. And I'm just very comfortable in that sort of scenario where we're just going to go with it. I'm not going to worry about, you know, if we say something weird or stupid or bizarre, you know, we're just going to go with it. And Aaron Riff is just hilarious to be around. I know that he can kind of rub people I know he can rub people kind of the wrong way because they think he's disingenuous or that he's fake. But I can tell you that he is the real deal. That if you ever hang out with Aaron for any length of time, you realize that he just is a guy that has a ton of energy, and he has a really positive outlook on life, and he's just, frankly, just a joy to be around. He reminds me very much of Paul, my buddy Drunken Master Paul. They have very similar personalities where they're really there to entertain and, you know, kind of be the life of the party. Also, another thing about Aaron that is really nice is that because he is a hardcore YouTuber, he also knows that he needs to give me stuff to work with. And so he's very good about being present in video and giving me quotes that I can use later on when I'm editing the footage. And so, again, just super easy to do videos with him. And if he didn't live 1,000 miles away from me, I'd probably try to do more videos with him. But I definitely enjoy it when he does come up to Seattle. And then obviously there is Kelsey. And Kelsey is such an interesting mix in this because I always feel like Kelsey is kind of the adult in the room, which is hilarious because she's the youngest of the Metal Jesus crew by far, but she's so put together. She's so focused, and I just think that she's so funny because she's so knowledgeable. And what I love about her is that she is not afraid to correct me or tease me or put me down, and I think that's so funny about her. The thing about Kelsey is that on camera, she doesn't come across as someone who is very silly, but in real life, actually, she can be hilarious. She's got a sense of humor that's pretty awesome, and so it's really fun also to riff off her as well, and you know, bounce ideas and dialogue off her because again, she won't let me get away with anything. If I'm wrong, she'll call me out on it, and I totally love that. And so in this video, it was a really cool mix of her and Aaron and me in this. And also, too, I want to mention that I don't give enough credit to my wife, Rebecca, because that's the other thing is that people don't realize there's a fourth person here who is filming, and that's my wife, Rebecca. And that's very important because Rebecca knows what I need. And so she knows that she needs to be moving the camera around, trying to capture the action. Plus, also, there's dialogue that's happening in the background where she's actually asking them questions. She'll ask Kelsey or me or Aaron, "What are you looking at? What are you thinking? What are you doing?" And that really helps with the video as well. And then you just take it back home and you put it all together and you hope that you have something that people like. And speaking of Kelsey, here is tour of Kelsey's Pink Gorilla game store in Seattle. This video currently has about 370,000 views. And this video was about a year or so in the making. I originally came to her probably in 2016 or 2017 and was like, hey, maybe it's 2017. So whenever she bought the store, I was like, man, it would be really cool to do a proper tour of your game store. And the reason why I do that is because it's such a cool store and not every place has something like this. And so I came to her, I was like, hey, I'd love to do this tour, be really quick and, hopefully won't take up too much of your time. But Kelsey, being a great business person, was like, she's very concerned about how her store will appear on video. And so she kept pushing me back. She's like, no, it doesn't look quite right, or maybe she's too busy or whatever, which I totally get. And then something really interesting happened. IGN, the mega channel, approached her because they were doing this series of kind of like travel vlog videos. And they were going to come up to Seattle and tour a bunch of places, and they contacted Kelsey and wanted to shoot in her Pink Gorilla store. And of course, if IGN wants to do that, you go, yes, we can make that happen. And that's exactly what she did. Although people don't realize what happened was that she spent, probably a week in just getting her store ready. And by that, I mean, making sure that there's no holes in the product, like no big patches where a bunch of games were missing. They basically pulled stuff out of storage. They moved games from their other store to make sure it just looked absolutely immaculate. And then Kelsey contacted me and she's like, hey, IGN's coming on Saturday, but our store is looking really good. So if you want to get in here and shoot a video real quick, now's the time to do it. And so I waited till they closed. It was like the day before that IGN was going to get there. And then we walked through and did a proper game room tour. And, because it was all set up for IGN, it was perfect and everything looked great. Now, the thing that was interesting about this, though, is that I knew that IGN was going to be putting out their video at some point in the future. And that meant that I needed to do a version of this that was my own and something that I felt was appropriate for my viewers. And so I really just had her walk through the store pretty much once, going section by section, talking about the highlights. And there's actually quite a bit of this video that was left on the cutting room floor. But, it was really designed to be like, what if Kelsey gave you a private tour of her store? And that's kind of how I envisioned this. Now, IGN's version of this was much different. It actually focused more on the Seattle experience, and their section of this was fairly small. And it was really interesting because my video, I haven't looked at theirs in a while, but this video did extremely well. And so it was with a little bit of pride. I mean, nothing against IGN, but it was definitely a little piece of pride for me to see how well my video did compared to theirs. Again, no, I'm not trying to put their channel down. Obviously, they had an entire crew of people that showed up, but it definitely goes to show that people really wanted to see Kelsey walk through the store and really talk about, what she sells there. And it turned out to be a really fun video to do. And I know Kelsey actually is very proud of it. So I'm very happy with it. And speaking of tours of stores, this just happened to be right below Kelsey. So this is called Insane PC and Game Finds at RePC Store in Seattle. So this has 340,000 views, and this was really interesting to do. This was another video that I wanted to do for many, many years, but I just, for whatever reason, I just kind of put it on the back burner until one day I just was like, hey, I'm gonna go down there and see if they'll allow me to do it. Now, unlike Kelsey, who I know, the RePC guys, some of the employees were familiar with my channel, but the owners definitely, I don't think that they were. And so it was very much a different experience going in there and kind of pitching the idea to them, because, if you're a small independent business owner and some long-haired random YouTuber walks in the door and wants to shoot a video and put it on the internet of your store, they didn't say it, but I got the feeling that they were a little apprehensive. They're like, why are you going to do this? What do you get out of it? And I got to be honest with you guys, the reason why I do these kind of videos is because I am proud of the Seattle area, and we have a very rich community and environment here for people who are gamers of all kinds, and specifically PC gamers. And again, I kind of thought in the back of my brain, I'm like, I don't think every city or town has a store quite like this. And so really, when I go in and do these videos, I'm very honest with the owners. I'm like, listen, my job as a film, as a video creator is to make your store look freaking awesome and make your store look like someplace that if they come to Seattle, they want to go check out. That's my goal. And they really have a hard time with that because they're like, well, we're not going to pay you. And I'm like, no, I don't want pay. That's cool that you offered. But again, my goal is to make videos that people want to watch. And this is definitely one of them. Now, a couple things about this video though. Unlike Pink Gorilla, which I think is kind of a no-brainer because it's so focused on retro games, I didn't know when shooting this if people would really care, because it is a bunch of computer parts, right? And so the challenge for this video is really to, again, have us on screen having a great time in the store, which is not very hard to do because we do love it there, and try to show a good mix of us walking around, being silly, talking about everything, but also being true to the store and really showing what they have for sale. And so, but I didn't know if people would care. You know, I've done PC gaming videos in the past and they get crap views, and that's okay, but you know, you just never know. But something about this store in this video really connected with people, and I was so happy because, again, it's another video where I don't know what's going to happen when we film there. Now, a little side note about this video that was kind of interesting is that when we're, I'm trying to remember when he told me this, but basically we're filming back there for, you know, about half an hour. And there's two owners, and the owner that we were walking around with, he's like, oh, by the way, when you edit this video, or maybe he told me as we're leaving, it was definitely later on. He's like, oh, by the way, when you're editing this video, I'm going to need you to blur out all of the boxes in the back that have a specific logo on them. And, and I was like, what? There's a lot of boxes back there, and we shot a lot of footage, you know? I mean, in my mind, I was kind of like, oh my God. Because if you have ever edited video, and if you've ever tried to blur out, say, like a license plate on a car or somebody's face, and the camera's moving around, it's a lot of work. And to do that on all of the boxes back there while the camera's moving around in every shot, I was like, oh my God, the amount of work. I mean, the amount of work to do that would have been days. It would have taken me a long time to do. So there's actually quite a bit more footage that I just couldn't use here that I was like, I basically had to kind of cut around trying to show too many of those logos. And the reason for that simply was just because they weren't trying to hide anything from the public. They just didn't have permission from the company that had sold or donated the stuff to them to show their logo. And so that's kind of that was their thinking behind that. But it was definitely freaking me out. However, later on when I went back after this video came out and it was a huge success, the other owner came up who is more in charge of the back room, and he was like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, nah, don't worry about that. So I could have used more footage, but it does say that, you know, in the future, I'm going to go back to the store and do a really cool pickups video and dig through a lot more of those boxes, and I won't have to worry about that, which will be great. All right, this video is the ultimate GameCube setup and combo, controllers, accessories, and more. So this is a video that I'll be straight up and honest with you. I got the idea because Cody, who is one of the co-owners of Pink Gorilla and is Kelsey's fiance, yeah, that's right, fiance, boyfriend at the time, posted on Twitter the kind of ultimate setup. Basically what happened was, in one of their stores, they had a lot of these parts set up and you know, to make the ultimate setup for one of their customers. And I saw that picture and I was like, oh my gosh, that is a great idea for a video. And by the way, there is what my thumbnail will look like. Like, it just laid all out in front of me. So I messaged Cody and I was like, hey dude, would you mind if I took your idea and made a video? And of course, Cody was like, sure, he didn't care, right? So that's exactly what this is. This was a video where I was like, man, you know, money, no object. What would you do to put together the ultimate GameCube setup? And I just happen to have all of the components in my collection to do so. So again, it was a fun video to do. Very easy to do. I love the GameCube and it was cool. You know, some of the feedback I got is that I didn't include stuff about the network adapter. And yeah, you can make the argument I could have mentioned some of that stuff, although I don't know how many people use that. Do you use it for Smash Brothers on GameCube? I have no idea. So that was one place where I missed it a little bit. So, you know, definitely I could have did a little bit more research on this, but I am pretty proud of this video. I think it's a cool video. Here is original Xbox HDMI cable review, 100% plug and play, no mod needed. So this is a video that basically what happened was that somebody messaged me on Facebook, a fan of my YouTube channel, and was like, hey dude, have you seen and played around with these cables yet? And it turns out that Pound Technology had, a company I was not aware of, had released these HDMI cables for the original Xbox, and they were available for a really reasonable price on Amazon. And I was like, okay, well, I haven't seen this, but I'd love to get this kind of solution. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So I bought them with my own money. They came in the mail, and I did a video on it. And this is an interesting video because for a number of reasons. And that is that it was just a video that was at the right time, for the right type of viewer like me. I really do feel like this is a video for me. I was looking for an HDMI solution for my Xbox. This company just happened to release one at the time, and I did this video on it, and it was really popular, and it was really fun to do again too. I really do like these videos where I compare footage between different types of video connections. Now, the one thing that happened though, so what I try to do is I try in my videos to be proactive, and in this case, I had a sense that this video might do well, or at least be of interest to people. And because the cable was so cheap, I mean, it was like 20 or 25 bucks if I remember right, I knew people were just going to buy it. It's one of those impulse buys that if you have any interest at all, you're going to buy it. So as the video was done and uploaded to YouTube and ready to go like on a Friday morning, I was like, man, I probably should reach out to the company who makes this and just give them a heads up. That's the proper thing to do. And I'm laughing because I really had to work. This is as far as I could tell, it was a brand new company. They didn't, at that time, really have a decent website. I guess what I'm getting at is I really struggled to even get their contact information. I really had to search for it. They didn't really have a social media presence. And I'm like, I'm doing my best here to try to get some sort of contact from them. It's hard to do that through Amazon because at least with some people, you can't really directly contact someone who's selling something on Amazon. So I eventually did, and I gave them a bit of heads up, and I don't think I even heard back from them. I think I sent out an email and I said, hey, just give you a heads up, I'm doing this video, be aware. Video comes out, and the cable, I'm starting to hear that people are saying it's immediately sold out. And that is not what I want, just so you guys know. I want you guys to be able to get these things as easily as, as possible. And so it's really, it bums me out when I hear that, oh man, it's sold out, because what happens is that the video continues to get views for the next couple days, couple weeks, couple months. And the comments are filled with people who are saying that the only way to get them is on eBay, and they're $50 or $100. And again, nobody wants that. That doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit you. And so I really want the person who makes these things to be prepared. That's what I want. And unfortunately, because I did this on my own, they weren't prepared. And I did eventually get an email from them kind of thanking me for the review, but I got the feeling they were completely overwhelmed by the whole situation. And again, it's a good problem to have if you're trying to sell something. You obviously want people to know about it and be excited about it. And that's kind of what happened with this one. Here is one called A Modern N64 Controller, the Brawler 64 Gamepad Review with Gameplay. So that is a title that pretty much says everything that you would need to know about this video. And this is a video I'm really surprised did so well. This is another video that I feel like other people did. And so my goal was simply just to do my spin on it, be honest about it, but also try to do the best possible video that I could and be fair, but also critical. Because I did get this for review, so I didn't have to pay for it myself, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to give them a pass. I really do care about what my viewers think. And this was a video that was a little bit tough to do because there is an issue with the thumbstick on the upper left. And it basically has a flaw in it. And that is not a fun situation to be in when you're a reviewer, you know. Now, I don't want to have products that are always perfect because that's not really good either. My job is to try to point stuff out. But it's a bummer because, you know, when there's a design flaw like this, it kind of sucks. And so I got to be really open and honest with people and let them make their own decision. And I will say that it was really nice that the people who made this acknowledged it and worked to fix it as quickly as possible. As a reviewer, that's all I can ask for. That is what I look for. You know, I look for someone who just will simply acknowledge it and deal with it, because that is the best way to go about this, you know. Here is my Xbox 360 exclusive games. 14 games you can't play on any other console. So this is a video that I did as an answer to all of the hidden gems and buying guide videos that I do. When I do a hidden gems and buying guide video, I really don't take into account whether a particular game came out on another system or the PC. And the reason for that's very simple, is that I'm much more interested in the person who says, hey, I want to buy an Xbox 360. What are good games for it? Because I don't assume that they also have a PlayStation 3 or a PC. Maybe they have a Mac. Maybe they don't game on it, that sort of stuff. And so I really just focus on, okay, if you're going to buy a system, this is what it is. Or hidden gems. Yes, some hidden gems do come out on other systems, but I still say, you know, they're hidden on that particular system. However, there are always a lot of comments on those videos from people who are like, that's not exclusive. You know, I can play that on my PC and better, which is all true. And I don't dispute that at all. And so for this, I was like, okay, let's look at all of the Xbox 360 exclusives. Now, again, in this video, I'm saying consoles. So, you know, the PC always throws a little bit of a wrench into this because, again, there are a lot of Xbox games that do come out on the PC, and that's, you know, that's a valid argument there. But as I look at these kind of games, especially exclusives, and especially in North America, where GameStop is by far the dominant place where people will go around the country to buy Xbox games currently, at least, you know, at the time I'm filming this. There are people who want to go into to a GameStop and just get the Xbox 360 games that were exclusive for that system. And so that was my idea for this, and I think that's the person that I'm assuming would want to watch a video like this, and that's who it's designed for. And again, for me, I really enjoy these kind of videos because I do like hidden gems, I do like exclusives, and these are really fun games to get, especially when they're still currently available to buy at retail. And in many cases, they're dirt cheap. I mean, I love when you can go get like a game and pay $1, $3, $5 for it. I just absolutely love that. And then here is a video that's a little bit more recent. This is, oh no, water and mold in the game room, $10,000 to fix. So this was a video that, I gotta be honest with you, I never actually really expected to make. And the reason for that is very simple. And that is because, you know, I'm not a home repair channel. You know, I mean, I can certainly do those, but, you know, I thought my audience wouldn't necessarily care. And as a matter of fact, you know, while I do videos on YouTube, I actually post quite often on social media, kind of more of my everyday life stuff. So on Twitter and Facebook, I'll share, you know, photos of maybe the music I'm listening to, or, you know, albums I picked up, or, you know, game pickups, or even sometimes my lunch. And, you know, when I discovered the mold, I posted out there just letting people know that this was going on, just like everything else in my life. And I was absolutely flooded with questions on it. I was kind of shocked, to be honest. I was like, oh, you know, and it makes sense. I mean, a lot of people have game rooms, they have homes, but suddenly I was like, oh, I guess people want me to do a video on this. And part of it was like, oh, I just want to do a video on it so I can send it to people when they message me and kind of explain sort of what was going on. And so that's kind of what that was my mentality when I went into this video. I was like, I'm just going to do sort of an honest assessment of what happened in our house. And that's why I included all the footage of the companies giving us bids. Because again, this is a fairly new problem for me. This is my first home, and this is the first time this has ever happened. So I was, you know, I had no idea what the problem was. You know, my wife and I were kind of freaking out when the guy came over for the bid, and he's like, yeah, maybe the entire front of your house needs to be repaired. And I was like, oh my God. Thing is, we have oil heat in our house, and we have a 300-gallon oil tank buried in our front yard. That's as old as the house. So it's basically 58 years old, and most contractors tell you you do not want to have to mess with that. And thankfully, that since this video has come out, we got a couple other people out here, some fresh perspectives, and also, to be quite honest, some feedback from the internet, some people who are experts in the field. I got some crazy comments, but I also got some really strong advice from people who actually live in the Seattle area and probably knew a little bit more about what's going on in our front of our house. And so the good news is actually that since this video has come out, well, we fixed the outside, and for way less than we originally expected to. So that is such good news. And so I'm very happy to report that at least for now, the leaking down in the basement has stopped, and we fixed the front. And like I said, it's way less than we expected, which is awesome news. The bummer is, though, is that we're still trying to fix the inside, but that shouldn't be that big of a deal. And as a matter of fact, I think we're going to probably plug or bore out or seal up those form ties and probably just leave that hole in the wall for a while, just to make really sure that there's no more leakage or anything like that, or that the mold doesn't somehow come back. And so I'm gonna go, you know, have to get some new furniture, but it's not a big deal. So like I said, I'm very happy with the results. It turned out to be something that we could fix, you know, for way quicker and way less than we originally expected. So anyways, guys, that is a quick look at basically my YouTube channel in 2018. And at the end here, I do want to give a huge shout out to the Metal Jesus crew and all of those awesome people that I know that come on my YouTube channel and also help me behind the scenes. I am so lucky and so blessed to know so many awesome people that it's humbling. It really is. And also, again, you, the viewers and the subscribers, all of this is nothing without you guys, and I really, really appreciate everything that you guys do. Again, I'm just humbled and honored by it, and I can't wait to see what happens in 2019. It should be a fun year, and I am looking forward to it, and I hope you guys have a great 2019 as well. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.